You also thinking about coming back to the stage?
Yeah, there's one of two things I'm thinking about. Both would be in New York, so I haven't done a play since I was here.
12th Night. Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
What's the excitement of that for you? What is it just because it's live, it's real, it's an audience, it's...
Well, I was raised on it, you know.
Yeah.
I've been going to the theater in this city since I was 4 or 5 years old.
Your dad was an acting coach?
My dad is an acting
He is
coach
an
and a
acting coach,
director,
right,
yeah.
right.
And took me to the theater here all the time. My dad and my mom did. And so I remember singing Godspell when I was 5 or 6 in the basement of some church, and musicals both obscure and not so obscure, and falling in love with the theater, you know. And then a few thousand years before that it's been around, so there's just, you know, nothing like doing that work.
One more scene between you and Woody. This is where Woody and you get hypnotized at the Rainbow Room. Roll tape.
The surrender of the mind. The surrender of the mind. They resist and resist. But the scorpion likes resistance. What is your name, sir?
C.W. Briggs.
And what do you do, Mr. Briggs?
I'm an insurance investigator for North Coast Casualty and Fidelity of New York.
What is your name, miss?
Betty Ann Fitzgerald. I also work at North Coast.
So you work together?
I can't stand that.
Don't pay attention to him. He's a sleazy little megalomaniac who's frightened of women.
When I say the word Constantinople, you will instantly drop into the deepest hypnotic trance. All resistance will disappear. When I say the word Madagascar, you will go immediately to the deepest level of hypnotic sleep, and you will obey all my orders. Ready now. C.W. Briggs and Miss Betty Ann Fitzgerald, I now pronounce you man and wife. Maestro, the moon shines down its magical glow on you two honeymooners. You're deeply, deeply in love. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Awaken to your tropical paradise.
What are you thinking?
Thinking that I'm the luckiest man in the world.
He described his expression in that scene as shameless, and now that I see it, it's sort of true.
Yeah, right. Right. It was like,
but there's no place for shame in a comedy, so good for him.
Yeah. When you think about all the opportunities you have, where do you put this?
Well,
in terms of experience, what's meant the most?
You know, I feel, to be honest, like to choose would be a lie,
Yeah,
because if I had to characterize my own experience of my own career, it's been that I haven't had to choose. You know, I did television at a time where they said if you did television you didn't get to do movies, and I got to do movies. And there used to be a time that if you did a lot of films, they didn't want you on the stage. Hard to remember now, but I remember when those transitions weren't so smooth. So I've gotten to do it all, and I'm very grateful for that. But to live a life loving somebody's movies and get the call that I got to be in this one is right at the top.
As good as it gets.
As good as it gets.
Yeah, as good as it gets.
I like to speak only in my own movie titles. Is that wrong? I'm just mad about you, Charlie. I mean it.
Yes, of course you do. It's just got to be the best of the times for you.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, I did 7 years on this television show, which was as exhausting a time as I've ever spent working, and as creatively thrilling. I got to direct and help in the creation of that and act with this beautiful partner. But now that that's done, it's almost like I get to actually be present when I go to work, and I'm not running solely on exhaustion and fumes. And I got to make this movie while doing only that and be in the experience, and it was great.
I don't know how many years it's been, but say if somebody comes to you when you're making Mad About You and says, you will over the next 5 years. You'll work with Jack Nicholson. You'll work with Tom Hanks. You'll work with Woody Allen. And then you'll wake up.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, I don't even, as you say it, I'm sort of realizing it.
Yeah. In a reasonably short amount of time.
Yeah. It's only been 3 years since the show ended, or less than that.
When you set out, what kind of career did you want? What kind of
This one.
This one. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't, contrary to this magazine article I just read, I didn't really have my sights set and do a lot of strategic planning, because you can't really strategically plan to work with Jack Nicholson and Woody Allen.
No,
you can try, but it doesn't always happen.
They're hardly manipulable.
Yes, but I think I did decide somewhere along the way that if I started to feel too safe doing anything, I would move toward what scared me. I lived in Los Angeles, and I was working in television in a couple of movies. And what scared me was walking into auditions for Rosemary Tischler Public Theater, and so I did that. I moved back here and did a play at the Public and did Our Town with Spalding Gray, and went on a lot of bad auditions, and had days where I had nothing to do but one dance class, and I would be on the subway and everyone would be rushing to their life, and I thought, where are they going? I have nothing to do.
Exactly.
But then that took on a life of its own, and then I started to slowly, when I could afford it, turn down parts in movies that felt like I had played them before in hopes that something would come along. You know, you kind of create a vacuum to make room for what hopefully fate has in store. And so I'd say that's the part I played in it. You know, I moved toward what scared me.
Where does that come from, do you know?
I don't know. I studied acting with my dad, but even every teacher I've studied with, any good teacher is going to move you toward your weak spots to strengthen them, and that's what's exciting, you know.
The sense of being able to walk out and take a chance.
Yeah, risk failing. That's why that's the difference when you go to the theater. Someone might forget a line, fall off a stage, hiccup,
exactly.
die, in one way or another.
It's the unexpected that makes the theater different, because as long as they can edit it, they can edit it.
It's like why sports is exciting. Watching somebody else maybe fail.
Well, someone said to me once that the best thing about television was sports and anything that wasn't scripted talk, or whatever wasn't scripted, because there was always the opportunity for the unexpected. And
on the stage, there's a script there, I mean, but you still don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Is anything missing from this picture?
I helped conceive and directed the last episode of Mad About You, and as much as so many actors probably have sat in this very chair and said, I want to direct, I did feel like I got bitten by that bug, so I've got an eye out there toward that. You know, there's so many parts on the stage that I haven't played that, you know, I could spend lifetimes. Like Rosalind in As You Like It, like Kate in Taming of the Shrew, and like Isabel in Measure for Measure, like Portia in Merchant of Venice, like on and on.
See, the reason I want you to list these is that somebody's watching this.
Oh, good. Well, I hope my favorite directors are home, ready to call me.
I was thinking about Taming of the Shrew for her.
Yeah, a new play. I would love to do a new play. So, you know, that hasn't happened, and you know, you pray for a good movie part, and I've had an incredible share of them, but I'm
Do you worry
hungry.
that, I mean, do you worry, do you have anxiety at all that there's not another great role around the corner, that you've been incredibly lucky?
And it's about to, well, now I'm getting a little nervous as you paint
I brought it up.
clear a picture of it. I could go down that road, but I haven't, you know, I worry about other things, I guess,
Take a look at this. This comes from Mad About You, since we've talked about it, because it meant so much in terms of 7 years and directing a scene from Mad About You.
Hey.
You're such a jackass.
I'm a jackass?
Yes.
Fine, so you know what? Leave me for another guy, why don't you?
I'm not leaving you. God.
You're hitting me. Interesting.
What do you want to do?
I don't know.
Well, do you want to go home and talk?
No, I can't go home. I don't like our home.
Do you want to go somewhere else and talk?
Not particularly.
Okay, fine.
Where do you go?
Well, if you don't want to talk, I'm
Who
not
said I didn't want to talk?
You did.
I did not.
I just said, do you want to talk?
Well, I didn't like the way you said it.
Seemed like a long time ago, or just yesterday?
It did. You know, that show was just if none of these other things had happened and I'd had only that, I would have been a very, very lucky actress, because, you know, we worked on that with all the care that any group of creative people would work on anything.
Did he create it?
Paul and Danny Jacobson together wrote the pilot and created it. They brought me in, and I had a lot of the same ideas they did. Both Paul and I, sort of at the same time, said, you know, there should be a question about fidelity a few years in, and maybe they should have a fertility stroke. We both immediately could see it, and so they created it and then brought me along, and I jumped into the creative team, and then it just was a very special place. It was a very special place to work.
It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much.
It really is.
Thank you.
We're both going to see The Seagull tonight.
We are.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Helen Hunt, The Curse of the Jade Scorpion. We'll be right back. Stay with us.